I'm Mac Gardner, certified financial planner, author, and founder of FinLitTech. Would like to welcome you all to season 3 of the eMoney podcast that makes sense. Now, season 3, we're focusing on financial wellness. And we've realized in prior episodes that financial wellness is a pretty big term. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on financial wellness for all. What does that mean? How do we get there? Now, a lot of times when folks talk about financial wellness, their preconceived idea is that, they're wealthy people that need financial planning, and that's what financial wellness really applies to them. But there are large areas of our community that are overlooked and underserved, sadly, when it comes to financial planning and managing financial needs. So today, we are very fortunate to have 3 guests that either specialize in pro bono planning or have built business models that help parts of our society and our communities that, again, have been overlooked or underserved. So our first guest is Mr. Jon Dauphiné, CEO of the Foundation for Financial Planning.
Hey,
Jon, thank you for joining us.
great to be here. Thank you, Mac, for having me.
Our second guest is Max Mintz, financial planner with the firm Common Interests.
Thanks for having me, Mac.
And our third guest is Alex Petsis, certified financial planner and a financial planner with Petsis and Associates.
Thanks for having me, Mac.
We've got the band back together, folks.
Woo!
For those of you who don't know, Alex and Max joined us for a CE event talking about the areas of specialty. Jon, we recently collaborated on another event that helped to support your organization. So it's really good to have all of you together to really talk about this what I feel personally is a very important subject, which is getting financial planning and getting financial education and guidance out to a broad community. So Jon, if you can start us off, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your passion, sir.
Yeah, so Jon Dauphiné, I'm the CEO of the Foundation for Financial Planning. We're all about bringing pro bono financial advice to underserved folks, and it's a terrific mission, and it brings together 2 of my passions. One is I'm a lawyer by training, and I started doing pro bono work as a law student and then as a young lawyer, and I kind of got bitten by the bug. And to be able to really advance pro bono in this field of financial advice and planning is just an awesome charge for me. And also, I spent a lot of my career helping foster better financial security for people at AARP when I worked there, and really helping them build savings, one day be able to retire. And so it really, in this role, 2 passions really come together. So it's a terrific mission, and I love talking about it. So I'm happy to do that today.
Thanks again. Max, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your mission. Tell us about your passion, sir.
Hi, everyone. Max Mintz. I'm a financial advisor with Common Interests. And our firm is interesting. We're a certified B Corp, which is a for-profit company with a social mission. And part of our social mission is to expand and democratize access to financial planning, and in our case, sustainable, responsible, and impact investing. We've been doing a lot of work in the past year, and actually for the past 5 to 10 years, to build different business models, different fee structures that enable us to go into communities and provide financial planning and investment services while building plans that fit our clients' needs. And I'm really excited to be here and to talk about this and to sort of open the door to alternative ways of thinking about things so that hopefully you can bring this to your practice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Alex, my friend.
Yeah.
I love the
How are you? All right.
I gotta say, I love the tie, brother. I love the tie.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I went through all my ties, and they were all going to break all the rules of Zoom to houndstoothy and colored. So I'm happy to be here with my plainest bow tie that I own. I'm a certified financial planner and chartered special needs consultant. My firm, Anthony Petsis and Associates, financial planning and investment firm, about $450 million in AUM, AUA. We have 3 advisors, 4 full-time support staff. And why I'm here is throughout my career, carving out a niche in financial planning for individuals in disability situations and with special needs. I became involved in this community through my wife, who's an elementary special ed teacher. Outside of my niche of special needs planning, I've really become part of the community, whether volunteering and teaching a special needs financial planning course at our local rec center, which is a very accessible offering for a lot of people, or special needs religious education at our local church. So part of the community and also part of my business and business model.
Wonderful, wonderful. So hopefully everyone who is listening and tuning in sees that we've brought some gentlemen onto this episode that have been serving the community in a lot of different ways. And I like to talk about financial planning, and a lot of firms are going after that 1%, the 1%, the 1%, the folks that have the money. That's how you generate fees, and that's how you make a sustainable practice and all that good stuff. But I think the industry is moving towards a focus on the 99%, who are the rest of the people that are out there that may need some guidance. So, Jon, from a diversity, from just different areas that you've seen, can you lead us off in the conversation about why it's so important to address the 99%?
Yeah, and first, Mac, I have to say, I think it's phenomenal that the industry is really paying attention to the 99%. I know Michael Petsis actually has a presentation, and he talks about kind of the current state, and he says about a third of the potential consumer base are well tended to. Those are the high net worth, higher, more affluent. The middle third could use more service. There needs to be more innovation in the compensation models. But that lower third in the income scale is really where pro bono financial planning fits in. And those folks are unlikely to be able to afford much in the way of fiduciary objective advice. And so, from our foundation's perspective, pro bono plays a huge role in bringing services to those folks. And we've done research recently that shows the needs are not incredibly complicated. There are things like building an emergency fund to have a cushion when there's a car breakdown. It's cash flow management, basic household budgeting, and then also prioritizing debt and paying down debt. So those are the top three. And then many different subpopulations in the underserved, be they the domestic violence survivors, people with serious illness, people who have a child with disabilities. They will have, their own discrete needs, but we do find thematically that those top three are real pain points for so many families. And also, I should mention, these families are targeted often by predatory services, payday lending, et cetera. And so really good objective advice can help them both sidestep the predators and plan for a more stable future.
Jon, one of the things that I love about what you do and what we all do, for those of us who serve in this field, there's a common misconception that there is some sort of color or some sort of area that really needs. The help is needed everywhere. There's no color or creed or anything. There are people that are Black, white, Asian, that all need help. So thank you for mentioning that, and mentioning how folks can actually be preyed upon because they don't have this advice. Max, what about you? What tell us a little bit about your practice and how you perceive this on 99%, how they can be served.
Yeah. So, I think there's Mac, you've started with a couple of terms that we need to come back to that are really critical, and that's misconceptions and preconceived notions. And I feel like when I have these conversations with advisors, they come at this conversation in a way that says, I know what this is, that I believe that I understand the needs of historically marginalized or historically underserved communities. And what I've found in having conversation is that a lot of those things are incorrect. And I'm even going to push back against the idea that pro bono consulting is the only way to go. Because I've heard a lot of advisors be turned off by this idea that I need to give everything away. And in our experience, what I've found is the key here is to build relationships, is to go into communities that you have some kind of connection with and listen, to spend the first time that you have building relationships and listening and coming to terms and understanding what the needs of communities are. And we found that you do need to get out there. You do need to make sure that you're coming to a community, understanding their needs, and then delivering something that works both for your time and for the needs of the community. But once people come to you for a one-on-one meeting, they understand that you're in business, that you want to get paid, and or that you have to get paid to cover your overhead, and that as long as you can work out a fee structure that makes sense, I've found that people actually value the advice more if they have a little bit of skin in the game. And this is why we've created a sliding fee scale that's based on our client's income, based on their ability to pay. And that works on an hourly basis if people don't need an investing service. It goes down pretty low. It's on our website, commoninterest.com. You can actually take a look at how we've built it. It's all public. Um, and then, once you've delivered when you've worked on an investing solution, uh, you can innovate through technology to deliver high quality investment portfolios on a fiduciary basis, but using technology like a TAMP, right? A turnkey asset management platform, where the trading and the time-consuming aspects of the delivery of those products are handled by a third party. As long as you retain control to, prevent unintended consequences, things like that. We found that hybridizing our practice across different technology platforms and different fee structures has dramatically increased our ability to serve historically underrepresented and underserved communities.
Wow. So your firm's actually built a model.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
awesome.
and it all is delivered through investment models. But we have multiple platforms that have different transaction charges, different ways of billing things. Um, you know, different custodians for different needs. You find that different custodians have different price points and different pricing models, and some have sort of like an all-you-can-eat trading model that you can use with an AUM-based fee. That just you change how that price scale works, and then even with small dollar investing, right? John, you said something really important. The needs of communities are they are very consistent. And as we work on, paying down debt, getting out of the cycle of payday lending, right? We free up cash flow, and people's lives adjust around that. And you have an opportunity as an advisor to come in and say, look, we just freed up cash flow by getting you out of the cycle of payday lending, right? We figured out a way to break that cycle really quickly, and then we freed up some cash flow. So what we're going to do is we're going to, one, give you a raise in your personal life, right? Make sure that you have more cash flow so you have less stress. We're going to work on building up that emergency fund, but we're also going to peel off a really small dollar amount, 10, 15, $20 a month, to start building up some kind of investment fund, right? And getting people involved in that, building those systems and habits is critical to building generational wealth and breaking that wealth disparity that we see in this country.
Yeah, habits, behaviors, traits, right? Habits, behaviors, traits. If my three kids were here, they're yes, Papa, we know. Habits, behaviors, traits. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Alex, I love what you do, man. I love the market that you serve, the folks that you serve. Tell us a little bit about what the 99% looks like in your space, what you do.
Sure. And we've kind of talked about it a little bit already. You guys have brought it up, and I'm like really putting my head up and down. I can't move too much because my mic's hitting my bow tie, and I'm getting in trouble from production. Just a little behind the scenes action going on here. But one thing that John and Max did mention is that bottom 2/3. There's a lot of advice and not so much investments. Yes, there's investments, but there's a lot of advice that goes into here. So for me, special needs financial planning, my practice doesn't look like always targeting the $3 million special needs trust that's sitting at Wells Fargo, sitting on the call with the attorney and calling that planning. That's not what I do. My practice, we have so many questions about Medicaid, SSI, and SSDI. When the parents take their Social Security, that can affect the children's benefits as well. ABLE accounts, what is a Medicaid countable asset, how to execute a rapid spend down if you run into trouble there, powers of attorney versus guardianship. We've all heard what's gone on with Britney Spears. That's something that goes on quite often in the special needs community. How to move a 529 into an ABLE and a special needs trust. That's another one I've been hitting a lot. And a lot of these things are things that most financial advisors aren't going to cover in their CFP course. So that's why I got these other letters, ChSNC, which stands for Chartered Special Needs Consultant from the American College of Financial Planning. If this is something that you want to make a core part of your practice, really truly specialty advice, great letters to start with. this is definitely something that's very niche and very specialty. So anyone who does want to get into this area, I do want to say something that's really, really important. Be genuine about it. Particularly because parents in a special needs situation, they're going to sniff you out if you're disingenuous, because kind of like John and Max and Mac we've talked about, there's a lot of predatory towards these families, not only just with everything going on with their kids, but on the financial side, whether it's planners who are insurance agents and selling them insurance policies they shouldn't have. And Max and I have actually talked about this and having to fix some of these problems. So yeah, it's definitely a great space and not a traditional planning area. So like Max has said, we've had to come up with some different models, whether it's hourly or flat fee, to be able to accommodate these families and their diverse needs.
You know, I'm listening to everyone talk here, and the vibe and the energy is help. Everyone wants to help. And I think our profession, a lot of folks come into it really trying to help people, um, but sadly our industry has this stigma attached to it, like, oh man, this person gonna try to sell me something, oh, this person's gonna sell me this or sell me that. So in your minds, what can we do as an industry to change that? And then I guess a follow-up, if you could maybe weave this into your response too, is, you know is that really causing a big issue? Why a lot of people in the 99% maybe aren't getting advice or planning is because they don't trust the people that are doing it. John, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, great question. Trust is a big issue. When it comes to finance, trust is a really big issue. And we have found that often our work makes the most sense when we fund a local organization that has deep roots in the community, deep levels of trust. And then when the volunteer financial advisors come in and they're affiliated with the program that we're funding, that's run by the trusted partner in the community, then we see that trust transfer and very successful programs. So I think that's key. A couple sort of online attempts, I think, are more challenging because you don't have that trusted intermediary, and it's just much harder. Surprise, surprise, people don't want to go in and share their biggest money challenges with a stranger online, that without a lot more context and a lot more kind of wrap around supports and potential services. So I think that's a big deal. But all of that said, one thing I've noticed about financial advisors is it is a helping profession at its heart. And I can't tell you how many pro bono volunteers say, things like this work feeds my soul, or this is why I got into the business in the first place. And so, one of the joys of running the foundation is being able to match these eager financial advisors to underserved folks who really, really, really can use their help and really see that play out. And the gratitude so often from the client is just so meaningful. So there's a story that needs to be told about the altruism of the profession. I think the profession gets a black eye in the press a lot, but I think, and sometimes deserved, right? But I also think there are all of these amazing volunteers. And others, like Max, like Alex, that are doing this incredible work and really bringing service to those who might otherwise struggle to get it. And I think that story needs to be told. So it's part of, I think, the challenge we all have in breaking through and making sure folks understand, the full picture.
Yeah. Max, what's your take on the way that our industry looks and what we can do to maybe modify that?
I have to follow up on something that John just said because that's unbelievably perfect, absolutely spot on. And I just want to add one more thing to that conversation, which is that the other thing that we've found in working with historically underrepresented communities, especially environmental justice communities here in New Jersey, is that um, one of the one of the sort of universal experiences is that these programs are typically funded by nonprofits and typically funded by a grant. And many of these communities have understood that there's this white savior thing that happens where we sort of ride in on a white horse, and when the grant funding runs out, then poof, we're gone. And The only thing I want to add to that is that we need to build long-lasting relationships, programs that last, that are going to be there. And but other than that, John, that was unbelievably great. Speaking to the issue of how the profession is viewed, though, in our firm, we've decided we need to trust is earned, and it's earned best by full and fair disclosure. So this is why I talk about the fact that our firm is a certified B Corp. This is how we've chosen to present ourselves to the public and go an extra mile to earn that trust. For those of you who don't know, B Corps are certified by a nonprofit called B Lab, which exists purely to certify for-profit companies and hold us to a very high standard to prove that we are who we say we are. Over and over and over again, I've heard this theme from new and prospective clients that they don't want to work with some nameless, faceless big bank. They don't trust them. They've heard all the horror stories, and they love the fact that we are an independent organization, independent financial advisors. And one of the things we almost always do is we go to the bcorporation.net website and we show them our disclosures. This is an extra layer of disclosure about who we are as a company. We hold ourselves out as values-aligned investors. We work to align our clients' investments with their values in the context of an overall financial plan. But when people go on and they see that we've done voluntarily 60-odd pages of disclosures about how we think about the world, about how our company gives back, about who we are in relation to the world and our sustainability mission, that helps to build trust. When they see that we've been, that this company has scored us in terms of the environment, in terms of our governance, in terms of how we give back to society, the same sort of ESG issues that have become such buzzwords in the industry now, and the fact that we've been doing this since 2014, that our scores have continued to rise, that we've made a mindful effort to intentionally build something different, they really resonate with that. And they start to see these are who these people are. And I think successful advisors need to find that. And working with Alex on a couple of client cases recently, I've really seen that my way is not the only way. Not every firm needs to be a B Corp, but you do need to find your motivation, your why, and express that in a way that isn't just some canned thing that you paid a marketing agency to write. It's not just copy on your website, right?
Yeah.
It has to be.
You can't fake passion, man. You can't fake passion.
You can't.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex, that was a nice segue into your thoughts and perspectives on this. I'd love to hear what you think about what the industry can do, or what maybe your firm is doing.
Sure. I think a great takeaway for anyone listening to this who's looking to implement, especially when we're talking about trust, is flat fees and hourly fees. They're a great way to implement. They're transparent. And it really helps with the reputation damage that we've garnered from hidden fees. You turn on CNBC or whatever daily show you're watching, which we all tell our clients not to watch, and we watch. Remember those shows? So we turn on those shows, and it's like, oh, this annuity, it's horrible. It's gonna kill everyone. Like it's like, well, the flat fee is really a great way to get around this. And it's really so beautiful because you pay this and you deliver this value. And if you're not delivering that value, you're not doing a very good job, and you should be fired. And you will get fired if you're on a flat fee retainer basis and you are not demonstrating your value to a client. So I think a big reason that some folks are hesitant is they may not see the value in the planning. And that's where a lot of the education comes. And how do we get people to listen to education? Kind of what John and Max are talking about. It's delivered through organizations that have earned community trust. And another point on the education, it's so important for everyone because, think of some of your biggest clients. I know some of mine may or may not be supporting their kids financially. And maybe the kids aren't part of that, top third. They might be in the middle third or the bottom third. Doesn't matter. If they had some sort of educational impact, maybe if I did a better job educating my clients' kids. So I'll take some accountability for that, right? They wouldn't be in a situation where they're always hitting up the bank of their parents. So that's kind of another thought that dovetails into here and can help connect things very practically for those who are looking to incorporate something like this into their practice.
I was reaching for my 4 Money Bears book to be like, yes, teach the children, teach the children.
It's just out of reach. I have mine. Yeah, dang.
Wonderful. No, I think everyone is making some very valid points here. We have three more points I'd like to cover, and I want to get this one in because I think it can help, or a lot of us are utilizing this resource, and I'd love to hear your take on it. Technology, right? John, tell us a little bit about how you think technology is playing in this either pro bono space or the ability to service clients that maybe have been underserved or overlooked.
Yeah, I think tech has such an important role to play. But one thing that COVID made very clear is tech has really come into the paid engagement space, in so many ways. And yet in the pro bono space, the state of the art is worksheets and pen and paper, pens. And it really hasn't been that tech driven. At least in the programs that we are familiar with. During COVID, we really helped a lot of our partners go to virtual service delivery. That we had to be upholding social distancing, but we definitely realized there's a gap there. There's more tech can do to just enable the administration of pro bono engagements, but also make it easier for the volunteer, make it easier for the client, make it easier for the nonprofit. So we are actually on a journey, and eMoney's been a great part of that. We have a tech committee. We're looking at a lot of different innovation. And actually, we just finished a survey. It's the first survey ever of volunteer certified financial planners and how they're using tech now to serve pro bono and lower income clients and what they think they need to do it more effectively. So we'll be publishing the results of that in the next couple of months and doing a lot of outreach with partners and trying to foster more innovation so that we can see pro bono engagements getting more tech support in ways that can increase scale and impact. That's really the name of the game.
Yeah, our mantra at FinLitTech is to build a bridge between financial literacy and financial technology. I talk about this formula: financial literacy plus financial capability. So you got to have the education, but you got to have the tools too, and together that actually equals financial wellness. So I am a huge advocate of what technology can do. Max, I know you built some stuff out too. Tell us a little bit about how you think tech is playing in this space.
Okay, so there's a couple points coming back to some of the earlier comments again about giving people visibility into their finances. And eMoney again here is a great tool, a great platform. When I onboard a new client, one of the first things I do is I run through their spending, right? Sometimes I dump it, I hit the button and I dump it to a pivot table and, see what insights I can get in 2 minutes, right, off a client's spending. And, you know, um, showing people where their money goes. How many times have you, as an advisor, and I'm talking to you, the listener here, how many times have you heard a client say, I don't know where my money goes? It goes through my hands like sand or water, right? Where is it going? That's that first step. That's that, know your money. What's your relationship with your money piece? And, eMoney and other technologies can help you build that gap. But also, the other thing that technology is really good at for the advisor is managing time. And time is in many ways one of the most critical currencies, also currency, that we have, right? And as we start thinking about how do you run an efficient practice to shift the time you spend on investment management to more of a planning focus, right? That's where you really need to leverage technology. It's where you need to be really hard nosed about the costs involved, about the costs both in terms of money and your time, right? And make sure that you are delivering value where your clients want to see it. I've seen so many advisors who get, hung up on the investments that we deliver, on picking stocks or on, doing that exact, whatever they think is their specialty. And in our firm, we take a different focus. Investment management is a commodity, and that's not where we deliver value. In our practice, we deliver value by aligning those investments with our clients' values, which is again, our specialty, right? But then on the on financial planning side, and that's where we spend the bulk of our time. And so by streamlining the investment management process through technology, through, trading platforms that let you really quickly and easily rebalance your client accounts, through turnkey asset management platforms that help your clients who are dollar cost averaging into the market do so in an efficient way with low cost institutional mutual funds and ETFs, right? By doing those things within the context of a financial plan, you can shift that time away from the things that you think deliver value, but your clients, I mean, your clients care about the returns, obviously, but they're getting, they can get that from anybody. They can get that from Vanguard. They can do that on their own, right? They work with an advisor for advice. And, having that personal relationship it's about freeing up time in your practice to deliver those services.
Yeah, I remember sitting down with an advisor, and they were like, "Do you want to manage money or do you want to manage relationships?" Because if you want to manage money, there's a bunch of folks out there that can do it, but technology is allowing that to be extremely commoditized, as you mentioned earlier, and very streamlined. If you want to manage relationships, that's what we can do, and there's technology that can help with that too. Alex, tell us a little bit about how you think tech's going to play in this space.
It's so important, and I'll plug again. If you start with eMoney, you start the relationship with planning, especially when you're onboarding a new client, and it differentiates you first off and helps you win more business and help more people, which are two very important things. But when you start with eMoney and you have a planning focus, I don't even talk about investments until like our third meeting. Third meeting, I talk about investments. I'm talking about estate planning. I'm talking about insurance. I'm talking about spending. I'm talking about retirement income. Talk about all that's taxes. I'm talking about all that stuff first. Then I'm focusing on, and a lot of these needs, right, are needs of the two-third and third, bottom third, right? So these are needs kind of for everyone. The investment needs tend to be more pronounced in the top end, not always, but tend to be more pronounced and more complicated. For most people, delivering value isn't sticking them in a TAMP and calling them once a year, okay? A lot of times they're going to be better off with the robo-advisor. I hate to say it, everyone's going to kill me here. You need to deliver value. That's the thing. If you're not delivering that value through planning outside, you're not doing as good of a job as you could be for your clients. So the other thing that technology is great for is segmenting, knowing which of my clients have a special needs situation and which of them are retirement income clients, and which of them are younger professionals, which is kind of my third niche here. So being able to separate all that and keep it organized and be, all right, I know I'm reviewing with these clients this time, these clients this time. It's really, really important. So having a good CRM that works, that's good with taking notes, that's, broker-dealer compliant or whatever you need to do, that's super integral.
Yeah, I often look back. I've been blessed to have been in this business for 20 plus years, and how things have changed. Even just within the past 5 years, things have changed dramatically with wealth management practices and financial planning practices. So we have two other points I'm going to kind of meld together for sake of time and put it out to the panel, and answer as you see fit. One is pro bono planning for advisors who want to do more of it or get into that space, right? What's the best way to do it? And then the second portion of that is, give the audience a story of how you've helped folks, and how either in your practice or something that you've done that could really help when it comes into the space that you're managing your work right now. Jon, you want to kick us off? You can, one
sure.
or both.
Sure. Yeah. No, and I'll keep it quick. But please, if you're a certified financial planner, you're interested in volunteering, please sign up at probonoplannermatch.org. You can create a profile, and then we work with nonprofits to populate volunteer opportunities, either in your community or available virtually. And it's a great way to get involved. You can also take our Pro Bono 101 training if you've never done it. It's free. You get an hour of CE credit. And it's a great introduction to providing pro bono service. In the realm of stories, please, I urge everyone, go to our website, ffpprobono.org, go to our impact page. We have so many stories of advisors, their clients, And one that struck me recently is the story of Raven. Raven was a single mom, a working mom with 4 kids. Her 4-year-old son, Noel, got a very serious cancer diagnosis. Raven had to take a lot of time off work. There were a lot of additional expenses. She spiraled into debt. And she was able to access a program at our partner, Family Reach, that provides pro bono financial planning and some other services to folks with serious cancer who are financially struggling. Her advisor really over time helped her get out of debt. And then the wonderful success story here is not only did her son Noel beat back cancer and is doing really great now, but she recently purchased her own home, her first home, because she was able, with Robert, her advisor's help, to really transform her finances. So a great story. Check it out on our site. And again, shows the power of this work.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now that's great. Max, what about you? Pro bono work, or just give us a good story, something that's impactful on your side.
So I'd like to share a story of how our firm has put a lot of the things that we've been recommending that you as the listener do into practice. In our book of business, we manage a few endowments for a few small organizations, churches mostly. And what we did was we worked with those churches, and one of which is in a historically marginalized community, to provide sort of advice at scale, to work with their parish, their flock, to provide financial advice seminars. And we did it in a way where we worked with the pastor of the organization, pastor of the church, to determine what the community needed, so that we weren't just coming in and giving some canned presentation from, whatever vendor that's like off the shelf. And here's how the financial planning process worked. We really spent the time ahead of the meetings to get to know the needs of the community, so that we could tailor those conversations to the things that were actually impacting their lives. And then what we realized is that eMoney's pricing model is unique. We as an advisor pay an annual subscription, and we get all the clients we can eat. So I said, look, it cost me nothing to turn on 50 extra people in eMoney. And so what we did was, to be covered by insurance, we did a financial planning agreement with the church itself. The church is our client. And then what we did is, through that contract, we were able to provide eMoney logins for a year to all of the people who attended the services, who attended this seminars. And we were able to work with them and give them homework. So we did a 3 or 4 week session, right? In the evenings. This was pre-COVID, where we were actually in person. We went to the church. It's pretty close to my partner's house. And we were able to actually go in and, in the first session, show them what eMoney was, after talking through some of the issues that were really impacting them, show them how the cash flow management application could really help them understand and get that data on their own spending. And then we gave them some homework to go in, to set it up, right? We gave them some guides, because eMoney has all these great, getting started guides. And I wish they were in Spanish too, because that was a real need. So for eMoney, please Spanish. And then we were able to come in and follow back up. We were able to say, so what did you learn? And have everybody share. And you have to lead with vulnerability, right? So you come in and you say, so I did the homework too, right? Here's what I learned, and I'm spending way too much at restaurants this week, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? And then, people will, if you lead with vulnerability, people will follow that. And what we found was, in sharing, that support network grew, and people realized that they were not alone. This feeling of isolation, that it's all on me and that I have done something wrong, is really powerful. And breaking that stigma, having those conversations, and really bringing people together, it increased the social fabric of the town a little bit, and it increased the reach of our client, the church. They were able to better fulfill their mission, and it's tightened our partnership with them in ways that we're still discovering.
That's an awesome story, and we literally could be on this call for like another hour, because you touched on the psychological aspect of financial wellness, which we had an episode on that, and talking about the stigma, which for so many people, it's a part of the planning process. Alex, what are your thoughts on a great story of pro bono planning? What's working for you?
I want to touch on Max's vulnerability. Full disclosure, my food over budget alert goes off every month on eMoney. So I just want everyone to know, if you're struggling with part of your budgeting, no matter how many designations you have,
They're not
sometimes
alone.
you're not alone. Sometimes you're just in the same boat. So I mean, in terms of pro bono, that's really Jon's specialty, but I'll touch on it. The CFP board, the FPA, and Jon's organization, they have really a lot of good resources there. So if you're a member of any of those organizations, I would check them out. They have some good ideas to kind of get started. Something Max touched on that I really liked is tailoring your presentation to the community and asking about the needs. In a community that might be historically underserved, I might focus on social insurance versus funding a third-party special needs trust with a big life insurance policy, right? That's probably not going to work. It's not going to be something that a lot of those people are people who might be historically underserved are really interested in. So you want to make sure that what you're showing is relevant, right, to the community. And just in terms of planning success, helping parents who get a diagnosis for a child, a lot of things happen during those times, and a lot of things are going through their head, and there's a lot of fear and overwhelmingness, and just being able to kind of help them take care of the finance side and tell them it's going to be okay, make sure they get all the benefits and have everything set up the right way. They need an insurance policy or need to do estate planning, just going there, sending them to someone who's not going to rip them off, like that, things like that, and making sure, particularly in an underserved community, that the child has access to the really basic stuff: food, shelter, healthcare. Food, shelter, and healthcare. Luckily, Pennsylvania is a good state with this. Not every state is, but Pennsylvania is a good state in terms of access to social services, in my opinion. And that's something that's that can be really, really important. But it's just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for my kids' healthcare bills who have special needs? Like, just being able to do that if you're in that demographic is just so important. It's just so important. It's really fulfilling knowing that you've helped someone really fulfill that those really basic needs that they may not have been able to get those resources before.
Alex, before we jump into the speed round, I've got to ask, how many ChSNCs are out there? I think it would be fascinating to just have one of these episodes just for folks in your area.
I could pull plenty together for you. We have a nice community of charter special needs consultants. We talk. We'll leave it at that. Academy of Special Needs Planners is a great organization that combines both financial planners and attorneys, and we talk on a listserv almost every day.
Okay, well, good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Because I'm thinking the folks who are going to be listening to this may be interested and say, hey, you know what? I want to serve that way. Max, something that's popping up in your mind that you want to share with us before we jump into the speed round?
Yeah, there is one more thing that we haven't talked about, which is the sort of makeup and demographics of our industry. You'll notice that this call is populated mostly by pale, stale males, and that is pretty reflective. So even if you're an advisor who's looking to do something, but you're really struggling, one of the other opportunities right now is to try to make our profession more inclusive. And there's one initiative that I've helped to start that I'd like to talk about here for a second, which is an internship program to try to build the pipeline of financial planners from historically underrepresented communities. We're building a program called the Wall Street Diversity Accelerator in partnership with a few asset management firms, some of which I work with, some of which I have no relationships with whatsoever. It's all just people who care. The two of our big partners right now are Granahan Investment Management and Needham and Company. And there are folks here. I'll send some materials over. We'll put some things in the show notes for places you can reach out to and some materials on the program. But we just had our first intern from the program this year. She was supposed to be with us for 4 weeks, and she did such good work helping us set up our CRM and manage our client relationships, to what Alex was talking about earlier. And I mean, that's real grunt work, right? Because it's, if you're updating those things manually, you got to click through everything 10 times. She took a program that I thought was going to take the full 4 weeks. She did it in half a week. And we actually extended her internship by about another 4 weeks. We doubled the length of the program for her because she was doing such good work, sitting in client meetings, taking notes with us, working on client cases. And it's been a truly impactful experience, both on our intern and on our firm. So we need more advisors who are willing to take on a paid internship. And bring more people from, we're recruiting specifically from historically Black colleges and universities to bring in more qualified candidates. I can talk about our intern for a second. She was in a 5-year MBA program. It was just unbelievably smart. Bring more folks into the industry to solve this pale, stale male problem that we all have.
Yeah, I think to button up that whole thing that you said, Max, is that 99% looks like a whole lot of different people with a whole lot of different cultures and a whole lot of different perspectives and stories. And so we could be here literally for another 3 hours talking about diversity and inclusion and the need for that in our industry. But thank you so much for sharing what you're doing. And I agree, if we want to address that large population, it's nice to have advisors that kind of look and sound and feel and understand the cultures of who they're going to be helping, who they're going to be serving. So, all right, speed round time. I'm going to ask the same question to each of you. All right. First question is, what's the one thing you wish you knew about money sooner? John, you first.
More about investing as a young person.
Yeah. Okay. Max, what's the one thing you wish you knew about money sooner?
Power of compound interest.
Oh, yes, big one. Alex, what is the one thing you wish you knew about money sooner?
Roth 401ks and Roth IRAs are your friend.
Amen to that. All right, question 2. What's one hope you have for the financial services / fintech industry? John.
That the journey towards more services, more value for the lower 2/3 of the population continues and accelerates, and that we can bring more, frankly, more service, more value to those groups.
For sure. Alex.
More build out for my industry and my side of the fence. There's not a lot of technology for helping scale massive value advice for special needs situations. And maybe I just need to be part of that change.
Hey, that's fine. Max, what's one hope you have for the financial service / fintech industry? So
I'm hoping we can leverage technology to help more people understand the impact of their investments on the environment and on society, and that we can help more people align their investments with their values.
Sure. All right, last question, folks. Fill in the blank. John, financial wellness is?
Not worrying about money.
Max, financial wellness is?
Having a healthy relationship with money.
Ooh, you guys are good. All right, Alex. Close it out.
Having a plan, because if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Well, John, Max, Alex, thank you all for joining us on this episode. You know, you have done and will continue to do amazing things for the folks you serve. I like to say that the journey to financial wellness is a long one. It can be a complex and complicated one. So thankfully, we have amazing resources like the 3 of you out there to help folks along their journey. And the journey continues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mac.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mac.
Mac.